right, welcome everyone. Today we're diving into something that a lot of organizations struggle with, how to get a real grip on cloud spending. We're going to explore how you can build a shared culture of financial accountability. It's really a journey, like it says here, from teams working in silos to everyone working in synergy. Okay, let's get into it.
So let me start by asking you a question. When it comes to the cloud, are your engineers and finance teams speaking the same language? I mean, really think about it. For a lot of companies, when cloud costs suddenly spike, the answer is a big, fat no. The exact same event can look completely different depending on who you talk to. I mean, this right here just nails the disconnect, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got the finance team seeing an unplanned cost spike. To them, it's a budget problem that needs to be fixed, like yesterday. But on the other hand, the engineering team sees a new feature launch. For them, it's a huge success, a goal they just achieved. They're looking at the same numbers, but through totally different lenses. Now look, this isn't about blaming anyone. It's not engineering's fault for being innovative, and it's definitely not finance's fault for watching the budget. It's a shared challenge. It's just what happens when teams are stuck in their own silos with their own goals and, their own lingo. So what do we do about it? How do we possibly bridge that gap? Well, the solution is to very deliberately build a common language, one that everyone, from the folks in engineering all the way up to the C-suite, can actually understand and use. And that's exactly where FinOps Education and Enablement comes in. The whole idea is to create this shared foundation of knowledge, to get everyone on the same page with the same terms, the same concepts. This is what allows you to start making decisions based on business value, not just fighting over costs or features. And you can't just send out a memo and call it a day, right? Building this common language takes a whole bunch of different approaches. We're talking about fun internal events like FinOps days or investing in real, formal training. It means having one central place, like an internal wiki, where people can find consistent definitions. It even goes all the way to HR, making sure FinOps skills are part of job descriptions from day one. You have to remember, adopting this way of thinking isn't like flipping a light switch. It's a journey. It's a process of your organization getting more and more mature. And we can actually break that journey down into 3 pretty clear stages: crawl, walk, and run. So at the very beginning, every single organization is just learning to crawl. This is square one, the crawl stage. In this stage, any learning that happens is pretty much trapped inside specific teams. The focus is on the absolute basics, really reactive stuff, like just trying to figure out who spent what money. People are basically firefighting. They only look for answers when there's a problem. And that whole common language idea, it's pretty much a foreign concept to most people. But as things start to click and people see the value, the organization starts to pick up speed. It graduates from crawling and gets into the walk stage. And this is where you start to see a really big shift. Education starts breaking down those team walls. You're moving past the basics and into more complex things like forecasting. Training isn't just reactive anymore, it's proactive. And, crucially, that central library for FinOps knowledge actually exists now. It's a huge step up from isolated actions to a much more coordinated effort. And finally, you have the organizations that are truly mature. They aren't just walking anymore, they are in a full-on sprint. This is the run stage. At this point, FinOps isn't some side project anymore. It's literally woven into the fabric of the company culture. It's a required part of training for key jobs. It's baked into job descriptions. It's part of how you onboard new people. Everyone just gets it. They understand how what they do affects the cloud bill and, even more importantly, how it connects to the company's biggest goals. So here's probably the most crucial point of all. This whole journey, it doesn't work if it's just the job of some central FinOps team. It absolutely requires everyone to understand their role and to play their part. So the real question becomes, what's your role in all this? Well, it has to start at the top. If you're in a leadership position, your job is to be the champion. You have to be the one constantly talking about why this is so important, connecting it back to the big picture business goals, and really setting the tone for the whole company. For all the engineers out there, you are on the front lines. Your commitment is to make cost awareness a natural part of your day-to-day work, not some chore you do at the end. You're the ones who really turn these ideas into reality. And then you have the finance and product folks. Their role is absolutely essential. They provide the business context. They're the ones who connect the dots between the dollars being spent and the actual value the business is getting out of it. They answer that all-important question, was this money well spent?
Okay, so it's one thing to say you're on a journey, but it's another thing to know if you're actually moving forward. I mean, how do you know you're not just walking in circles? You need some kind of compass. And that compass comes in the form of clear, measurable key performance indicators, or KPIs. We're not talking about vague goals here. We're talking about concrete numbers that track whether people are adopting these new skills and if it's having a real impact. And check this out. This is a fantastic example of a powerful KPI. It's a super simple chart, but it tells a huge story at a glance. You can track the percentage of your key people, your FinOps personas, who've actually completed training. It gives you a clear, visual answer to the question, are we hitting our education targets? And you can go way beyond just counting certifications. You can measure real engagement. How many learning sessions did you offer this quarter? Did people actually show up to your internal FinOps events? Is anyone even using that knowledge base you worked so hard to build? These are the kinds of metrics that tell you if the culture is actually changing. So when you put it all together, you build that common language, you understand where you are on that crawl, walk, run journey, and you define everyone's role, you can completely transform cloud cost management. It stops being a source of friction and becomes a real strategic advantage. So the only question left for you is, what's your very next step?